Hello everyone. So today we'll be doing a quick oil change on a 2013 Honda CRV and a 2013 Nissan Skyline. This is a 370GT version. Alright, so we got the bonnets up, had the engine warmed up a tad bit so the oil could flow a bit easier when I'm draining the oil. Bonnets are up, and for today's job these are our tools. So I have two jack stands here, I have a socket set, I have two pans that I'm going to use to drain the old oil in, a screwdriver, a 10mm, I have my oil filter tool here. You're gonna need something to use as a funnel. We don't need any fancy funnel, so you can just cut a bottle in two. Some paper towel to clean up, some pieces of board, because the CRV is gonna be a bit high, so we will need to use something to assist the jack to get it up. Have my filters there. The Skyline doesn't need any cabin or air filter, those are reusable, so I'll just wash those out. And I got an upgraded one for the CRV as well, so after this no more buying of air filters for the CRV. And the oil that we're using here for the CRV, we're going to be running the high performance 530 motor oil from Royal Purple, and for the Skyline we're going to be running the HMX 1030 from Royal Purple as well. I have another bottle of this because the Skyline is going to take about 6.5 liters of oil, I believe. Sorry, not liters, 6.5 quarts of oil. So there's another bottle of this lying around somewhere. Alright, so let's get this show on the road. Alright, so I'm going to be starting with the CRV here because, yeah, just in case I mess up anything, I don't want to mess up the Skyline first. Alright, so we're going to crack the oil cap here, put it somewhere that you don't lose it, and just lift your dipstick a bit. These will help the oil to flow better once you open the drain plugs under the bottom. Alright, so now that we're underneath here, this little plate right here, you don't need to take the full guard down for the CRV. This little plate right here, once you get these screws out and remove the plate, it should expose the drain plug for the oil and the oil filter as well. So let's get that going. Alright, so here we go. Oil filter and the drain plug for the oil pan. So as I said, you just need to remove the little shielding right here, and it exposes both of those items. So let's set ourselves up to get this off. Alright, so the socket needed for the drain plug here is 11/16 and goes on, fits nice and snug. We're gonna get that off in a minute. Alright, so we got that loosened here. Here's a little tip now: if you don't want this to spray out on you while you're screwing it out, just keep some pressure on it. Let me just line this up. Right, so we keep some pressure on it so it doesn't spray out, and you just keep going until you're at your final thread. So what I'm doing, I'm screwing it out while pressing on it, and there we go, out for the leak. Nice. Alright, so once you've got this loosened up, you're just screwing it down here, running it down. Yeah, there's some more oil there coming out, and just running this off, this old filter off. And there we go. Spill your guts out. I'm just gonna take this back out so you can just air out any other oil left in there. Alright, there we go. All the old oil is coming out. So here we go. This is our new filter, K&N brand. So we're just gonna use a bit of oil to lubricate the seal here before we put it back onto the vehicle. So you can just use a bit of your old oil. Don't need much, just a little bit to just lubricate the seal, keep it moist before you put it back on. Alright, so you just screw in this one back up now. Let's run it back in, and you can tighten it to hand, or you can use your oil wrench tool to tighten it up. I'm just going to tighten mine to hand. Alright, great. Now that we've got that done, I'm just going to grab my my funnel here. Hand it on the makeshift funnel, and we're going to start adding in our new oil. Alright, so time to add our oil in, and for this particular vehicle it takes 4.2 quarts. So I'm just gonna top it off with some fresh oil. The Royal Purple High Performance 530. Alright, now that our oil is in, we're just gonna be popping in our air filter here. Let's get this open. And this is supposed to be a reusable air filter. So no more purchasing air filters. We just clean this one and pop it back in, and we should be good to go. So the box here is held in by some clips, I think about 3. You can just pop them open like that. Should be another one around the back here, and once you do that, it's just a matter of, you know, wiggling this thing out of your way so you can get to the air filter. This one's not looking too bad, but I'm still gonna change it so that we have a fresh one inside. Alright, it's just about popping it in place, just like that, and you just return that to its original position and lock it up. Okay, once that's back on nice and snugly and tight, all the pins are locked up. Next project is the cabin air filter. Alright, so first step is to open your glove compartment. I like to remove the stuff that's in there so they don't fall out, because you'll be taking this entire piece out. And to take it out, inside here, you're just gonna push in and drop it down, and there we go, down already. So I'm gonna take this out now, and you just pull the pins to the side. There you go, and you lift out the one that you have inside here and replace it. For good measure, I keep a little air freshener in here. I just tuck it in the top section here. Yep, just like that. Keep the string tucked to the side so I can pull it out easily if needs be. Alright, once you have that all locked up, you're gonna now connect this thing back to here. This clips in, and give that a nice push, and it locks up. Perfect. Alright, now oil should be in. Now all we're gonna do is just take our little makeshift filter out and clean up this little oil spill I had earlier. So we sorted that out. We just put our cap back on here. And you tighten to hand. Our dipstick is in. And remove anything that you placed in the engine compartment, because you're all done. Alright, so to top off, we had cleaned this area up earlier. We're just making sure that there's no leaks, visible leaks, because there's oil in there now. Not seeing any leaks. This is all nice and snug. This is all tightened, and we're just gonna put the plating back on here through the 4 screws that held it up. As soon as we've done that, we're gonna just lower it back down, give it a start up, allow it to run for about a minute, and allow the vehicle to shut off and rest for about 10 minutes, and then we'll check the oil level to make sure everything is nice and good. Okay, for the Skyline, first order of business is to get the air filters out. Because I use reusable air filters, I'm gonna have to wash these and let them air dry so I can put them back in. Give me a warm time to get out here. Alright, there they are. Out, and we just pop these out. Yeah, these are pretty dirty. Gotta give them a decent little wash. Alright, so I'd already gone ahead and cracked this nut here for the drain plug. I'm just gonna get that out some more so that we shoot oil into our bucket below here. There we go. Alright, so the same goes. It's out here, and we are keeping pressure on it while we turn, so it doesn't squirt out at us until we're down to the final thread. And then there we go, nice and clean. Getting that oil out, all that dirty oil, get out of there. Alright, next up, it's time to get this old filter off and get the new one on as well. But we'll just allow the oil to run out a bit more before we go around to that part. Alright, now that we've got the oil filter loose here, we're just gonna screw it out and get all that extra oil that hasn't leaked out yet out of the car. Alright, there we go. Going pretty good. Alright, so I'm gonna prep the new oil filter. Allow this to run some more. I'm gonna prep the new oil filter so I can put that right on as soon as that stops leaking out. Alright, so prepping the new oil filter. We're just gonna use a bit of the old oil here to just moisten the seal that's on it. So the rubber seal here. See, just a little bit to moisten the seal before we put it back on. Let's get a little bit more on there. Just a little bit. Alright. So we're basically now just screwing this thing back up. And again, I'm gonna tighten to hand. So stick by, we'll get that up shortly. Alright, once we've gotten this area cleaned up, put on our new filter, our plug is back in, cleaned up this area of any spills or messes that we have. Now it's time to top her off with some oil. So let's go up top. Alright, time to top off with our oil. And I'm using the HMX high mileage motor oil 1030 for the Skyline. It takes 6.5 quarts. So yeah, let's get the oil in. Alright, now that we've gotten 6.5 quarts in, we just want to clean up any messes we had. keep it nice and clean. And we're putting the oil cap back on. Just tighten to hand, and yeah, we're all good. And for a finishing touch, we're just going to be putting our air filter back in. That's one, and you close these clips. That's one, that's two. Second air filter going back in. And just closing up the clips. These are giving me a fight. And voila, there you have it. Nice and snug in, and if everything looks good, we are ready to rock.